All right, welcome in everyone to this deep dive. We're going to be really digging into an article today by senior technical writer Curt Robbins.
Oh, yeah, I saw this one.
Yeah, it's called Helping Junior Technical Writers.
Hmm.
It was published on February 2nd. And, it's really packed with insights, especially if you're in the technical writing world.
Yeah, and you know what I thought was really interesting about it was that, Curt Robbins, he's not just some random blogger.
Yeah,
The guy has worked with giants. We're talking Microsoft, FedEx, Wells Fargo,
huge names.
even Northrop Grumman.
And what really caught my eye was how Robbins tackles this like blurring line between junior and senior writers,
Yeah.
especially in the tech world.
Right,
And he's basically saying that everyone needs to be a lifelong learner,
right.
which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And he even says, the rapid pace of technology and resulting disruption requires all technical writers and documentation specialists to be lifelong learners. But what does that actually look like? Like, what skills should we be prioritizing?
Well, I think he's spot on about the lifelong learning thing, first of all.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Robbins started his career in high school. And so he's seen firsthand how technology can just completely reshape what a technical writer needs to know. And then there's this whole other world of like AI content strategy that's popping up.
Oh, gosh, don't even get me started.
I know AI is changing everything, even like user manuals. You might need to like design interactive tutorials now that are powered by AI instead of just having static text. That's a whole new skill set.
Okay, you're making me feel like I need to go back to school.
Yeah.
But Robbins also talks about how he got his start, internship at Nationwide Insurance. So it's an interesting path. But how does that apply to people who are switching careers later in life? Some of our listeners might be in their 40s and 50s thinking, is it too late for me to become a technical writer?
Yeah. Well, and that's where things get really fascinating, I think, because while starting young is great, Robbins really emphasizes, welcoming junior writers of all ages.
Okay.
He's actually worked with people who are in their 40s and 50s who transition from completely different fields. And honestly, their experience is often their biggest asset.
Oh, interesting. So like someone coming from healthcare could be amazing at explaining complex medical software.
Precisely. They already have that deep understanding of the industry jargon and what users actually need. They just need to like layer on those technical writing skills. And those transferable skills, communication, attention to detail, those are gold no matter where you come from.
So Robbins is saying, hey, if you can explain heart surgery to a 5-year-old, you can probably handle documenting some software.
Exactly. And that's super encouraging, I think, for anyone out there who's thinking about making a career change.
Yeah, for sure. But let's be honest, it's not just about passion, right?
Right.
We all got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And Robbins is very upfront about the fact that this is a career,
Yeah.
not just a hobby.
Right.
This is how you make a living. In fact, he's built this whole community around it, a LinkedIn group with hundreds of members, a newsletter, even podcasts. So some people might say, okay, that's nice. But is that really necessary?
Well, I think he's onto something with these communities. They're not just for like warm fuzzies and, making friends. It's about getting practical advice, how to level up your skills,
Right.
how to negotiate a better salary, how to even find freelance gigs. Robbins is basically saying, this is how we make a living. This is how we pay for those, ballet lessons and college tuition.
Right.
He even quotes that in the article.
Okay, so he's bringing that real-world financial aspect into the conversation. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But is it all about the money? What else do you think he's trying to achieve with these communities?
Well, what I find really fascinating is that he's providing a safe space for writers to connect,
Yeah.
to share their struggles, their triumphs, to learn from each other. That sense of belonging is huge, especially in a field that can honestly feel pretty isolating at times.
You're right. It's easy to get stuck in your own little writing bubble.
Exactly.
So these communities are a way to kind of break out of that and see the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. They help you stay current with industry trends, learn about new tools like Madcap Flare, for example,
Yeah.
and basically they help make sure that you're not falling behind.
Okay.
And Robbins is a big advocate for using those tools to climb the career ladder, to survive layoffs, even land those big promotions. He really sees technical writing as a superpower in today's job market. So what really matters, I think, is having that foundation of those technical writing skills that you can then apply to any tool.
So it's not about mastering one specific program.
Right.
It's about being this tech chameleon.
Yeah.
ready to blend in with any new environment.
Exactly. And that kind of brings us back to his core message, which is continuous learning.
Right.
He even has a podcast specifically about AI for technical writers. I mean, that's how dedicated he is to staying ahead of the curve.
Wow, a podcast on AI for writers.
I know.
I'm adding that to my list. But all this talk about tools and skills, it's easy to get caught up in the technical side of things.
Yeah.
Do you think Robbins misses the mark on the more human aspects of technical writing?
I don't think he misses the mark at all. Remember when he talked about how those career changers bring such valuable experience to the table?
Right.
A lot of that is about empathy, understanding user needs. So he's not just saying learn madcap flair and you're good to go.
Right.
He's emphasizing the importance of connecting with your audience, understanding their pain points, and making that complex information truly digestible.
So it's not just about being a good writer, it's about being a good communicator.
Yeah,
Almost like a translator between the tech world and the everyday user.
that's a great way to put it, yeah. And you know those like soft skills, collaboration, problem solving,
Yeah.
those are crucial too, especially as you move up in your career. Robbins talks about how senior writers often end up managing teams, leading projects. It's
Yeah.
not just about like sitting alone in a cubicle writing manuals anymore. And that kind of ties into his focus on financial success.
Cool.
You know, he wants technical writers to see their value, to negotiate fair salaries, to build those thriving careers.
He even explicitly tells people to hire him at the end of the article
He does.
for their documentation and communication needs.
Which shows that he's not just preaching, he's walking the walk, you know?
Yeah.
Building a successful business while also helping others to do the same. And that entrepreneurial spirit, that hustle, I think that's what makes him so relatable and inspiring.
But I'm curious, you've mentioned some of the benefits of these online communities for junior writers.
Right.
But what about those who are already established in their careers? What's in it for them?
That's a fantastic question because, you know, we often focus so much on helping those who are just starting out that we forget that even senior writers can benefit from that community. It's about staying sharp, learning from others' experiences, maybe even mentoring those who are just starting their journey.
Yeah.
You know, think of it like a continuous learning loop where everyone kind of brings something to the table.
So it's not just a one-way street of senior writers dispensing wisdom.
Right.
It's more of a collaborative exchange where everyone learns and grows together.
Exactly. And Robbins highlights this in his article. He's not just trying to create an army of junior technical writers.
Okay.
He's fostering a community where everyone can thrive regardless of their experience level.
So it's like he's creating a support system, a network of people who understand the unique challenges and rewards of this field.
Absolutely. And that's something that is often missing in the corporate world.
Yeah. I'm really appreciating Robbins' holistic approach. He's addressing the technical skills,
Yeah.
the business savvy, and now this human element of community and connection.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, does he ever talk about the creative side of technical writing?
Mm.
Because let's be honest, it's not all just dry manuals and specifications.
Right.
There's an art to making complex information engaging and even enjoyable to read.
That's a brilliant point. And you're right. It's not always explicitly stated, but I think that creativity is woven throughout his message. Remember that quote about like explaining heart surgery to a 5-year-old?
Right.
That takes imagination and a certain flair for storytelling.
You're right. It's about finding that perfect analogy, crafting a compelling narrative, even injecting a little humor where appropriate. Because if you can make someone smile while reading a technical document, I mean, you've really achieved something special.
Absolutely. And I think Robbins would agree. He's not just churning out robots who can spit out technical jargon. He's encouraging writers to find their own voice, their own style, and to bring a bit of their own personality to their work. Because at the end of the day, we're all just humans trying to communicate with other humans.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little bit of personality goes a long way.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm ready to join Robin's community and embrace my inner technical writing rock star.
Me too.
But before we get too carried away, let's bring it back to our listener. If they could only take away one thing from this deep dive, what would it be?
That's a tough one. But I think the most important takeaway is that technical writing is a field with immense potential, regardless of your background or your experience. It's about continuous learning, embracing new technologies, and finding that sweet spot between technical expertise and human connection.
Beautifully said. And it's a message that resonates deeply, especially in today's rapidly changing world.
And that's what makes this field so exciting. It's full of possibilities, and ultimately, success is about defining your own path and pursuing it with passion and purpose.
I love that. It's not about chasing someone else's definition of success. It's about creating your own. And I think Robbins would agree, he's all about empowering tech writers to take ownership of their careers and to find their own measures of success.
Absolutely. And he provides a roadmap for doing that in this article. The skills to master, the communities to join, even the mindset to adopt. So he's not just telling you what to do, he's showing you how to do it. Robbins ends his article with a call to action. He urges readers to connect with him, join his communities, and even consider hiring him for their documentation needs.
Wow.
It's clear that he's passionate about helping others succeed in this field.
And that passion is contagious.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to level up my own technical writing game.
Me too. And I hope our listeners are feeling that same spark of inspiration.
We've talked about the blurring lines between junior and senior writers, the essential skills for staying ahead of the curve, the power of community, and the importance of defining your own version of success. That's a wrap on this deep dive. Thank you for joining us.